Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Donny Football with you tonight until 10:35. And right now, we got a special treat for you, especially for the wrestling fans out there. This one is certainly exciting for me. Maybe my all-time best one-on-one interview to this point in my early radio career. But we are joined by the present and the future of women's pro wrestling, Jade Cargill, here on 93.7 The Fan. Good enough to give us a few minutes. Jade, I want to start with WrestleMania. That was a couple of weekends ago. It was my first WrestleMania as a fan. I got to enter and experience all of that for the first time, and also your first WrestleMania as a WWE superstar. Talk about that whole experience, the tag match you were in, the great women you got to work with, everything that match and that night entailed.
Well, thank you, Donnie, for even having me today. It was an experience that honestly I can't even fathom and put into words. It was my first time experiencing WrestleMania in general because previously I've watched online or I've watched on TV or however the platform was at the time. So it was my first time in general. At that, it was my first time being in front of an outstanding audience. I've never been in front of so many different people, but the more people for me, the better. I was a little nervous at first. Everybody kept on throwing nerves on me. Are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I'm not. It's not that I don't get nervous. And I say that in a way is if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So I was more nervous for like being in the ring with such phenomenal women. You know, I have Bianca, who's never lost at WrestleMania. I have a veteran to my right, Naomi, and being in the ring with these phenomenal women against Damage Control, who in their right are phenomenal as well. They've been out here killing the game in the WWE universe. So us going out there and just winning and taking home the win was phenomenal. At that, it was my first appearance ever. And at the WWE universe, other than the Royal Rumble, but as far as like a match. Mm-hmm. So taking it all in, my Naomi and Bianca just were telling me, take it all in, breathe. This is your first time ever on this type of stage, and a lot of people would give their arm to be a part of this moment. And so I could have never got a better start at that alongside phenomenal women. Again, we took the W home and the universe was so welcoming.
That whole weekend for you, taking it in for the first time as a member of the roster, and that first time walking out, because a lot of superstars always talk about that first time walking down the ramp, walking to the ring at WrestleMania, seeing a stadium with 70,000 plus people in it. That had to just be like breathtaking, but you have to stay in the moment too.
Yeah. And you know what? So I was going to start dancing when they started dancing. We were coming down the ramp, but I'm not a dancer. And that's what I was like, listen, I'm not a dancer, guys. Like I'm a stoic. I walk straight. Like I keep my fists at grips. Like I'm like, I can vibe with you guys and feel it, but like me, I'm very stoic and like I'm staying focused and like I see the prize, and the prize is to beat Damage Control. So that's how I was focused on. They're like, all right, you don't have to dance. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna dance. That's not my thing. Like I don't think no one out here has ever seen me dance. So let me just relax and like let me do my own thing. And they're like, yeah, go ahead and do your own thing. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So we all did our own thing in our own right, and we went out there and dominated.
I watched one of your interviews right before WrestleMania that you did with Busted Open Radio. You talked about your quick rise in pro wrestling and also betting on yourself and why that's so important. I think that can relate to a lot of different fields. So I wanted to let you sort of get into more detail about all of that.
Yeah, I mean, in life, you should always bet on yourself. You should never let someone determine your future and what you want to do. If I did that and I let people's opinions about myself rive and just deplete who I am, like I would never survive in this sport, Like it's a very opinionated sport, but you have to know yourself and know what you bring to whatever that you're in, whatever system, whatever department you're in. You have to know yourself and you have to do the work. You have to keep your head down and let your work speak for itself, and don't let other people's opinions sit on you and weigh on you and tell you who you are. So in depth, me knowing who I was and listening to people who drew money and listening to people who want me to succeed in this business. You know, I could do nothing but bet on myself. At that, these people who put me in such a phenomenal place in this industry, they bet on me as well. And one thing I told Mark Henry, for example, because he's the one who got me into the sport, I said, I would never embarrass you. I would never let you down. Same thing with Cody Rhodes when I entered WWE. I said, thank you for putting a good word for my name because I'm never going to let you down. I'm going to do work. And I refuse to let these people down when they put their name on the line for me.
You mentioned Cody Rhodes right there. You mentioned Mark Henry as well. I wanted to get into that a little bit. You came onto the scene in All Elite Wrestling. That's whenever I think a lot of people, myself included, started to find out who you are and what you were about. You were an immediate badass on that stage. And then you were really the first person to make that jump to WWE. We had seen so many WWE superstars go to AEW. Cody went back and forth, obviously, after his first run in WWE. You were like that first big star to make the move to WWE. So talk about that transition a little bit, if you could.
You know, trusting people like Cody Rhodes and just seeing his experience and his jump and him to overcome all the negativity that probably came from him jumping over, you know, it could mentally mess you up if you're not prepared for this type of thing. Um, I wouldn't say it was difficult for me. I mean, it was difficult in the ways that, you know, where I came from, they trusted me as well, you know, and I can't sit up here and say anything negative about the company. You know, they gave me my first start. I would never got a better start, and that's a fact. And the fan base loved me, you know, and I hope they continue to love me regardless of where I go and where I end up. You know, I want them to support Jade Cargill, the wrestler. And at that, you can support Jade Cargill, the person as well, because I'm a human being, you know. At the end of the day, it's all business. It's all business. You know, you have to bet on yourself in this career. And I am 31 years old. I wanted to work with the best women in the company, you know, and that didn't happen. I was on my own little island, and that's okay. Um, and I had a phenomenal streak. However, if I'm not working with the top women in the company, does that degrade my streak? What does that mean about my streak? So I wanted to get better. I wanted to get more reps. And the best place for women's wrestling is at WWE, working with the best women, the best locker room, and getting those reps. So me trusting these people and me talking to the Cody Rhodes and them giving me my experience and me having a front office and them giving me great feedback of what I can do in this industry. You ask me, I think betting on myself is the best thing I could do.
Talking to Jade Cargill, WWE superstar here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. SmackDown in town this Friday at PPG Paints Arena. Jade, when did it hit you like, hey, I can not only do this, but I can be really good at this?
So when I first went my first trial, it didn't hit me then. It hit me probably along the lines of when I was in the ring with Shaquille O'Neal and with Cody Rhodes. And I said, you know what? I have to leave people. They're gonna follow Shaq, regardless of where he goes. They're gonna follow him. He can be playing with puppets. They're gonna follow him and watch him. Um, Cody Rhodes already has his fan base. You know, like they already know who he is. They know what he's about. His father, Dustin, everybody, they have a legacy of their own. So I was like, I need people to want to see more of me. So that was when I was like, I can be really good at this and I can make a lot of money for this industry. And not just the industry, I can create a legacy of my own and I can create footprints for the next generation in this if I just do the work and I keep my head down. So that being in the ring with those two and saying I'm gonna have people wanting to see more of me, that was when I was like, okay, I can be really good at this and I can draw more eyeballs to this industry because I'm not here. The wrestling fans, the general wrestling fans, they're always going to be there, whether they love it, hate it, want to throw it away, punch the TV, whatever. I'm here to get fans who are not necessarily wrestling fans, the girlfriends or the wives or the best friend who doesn't care about wrestling. Like I'm the one that's going to get people to stop and tune in. I'm going to get people to say, oh, damn, what is she wearing? I'm going to get people to say, damn, like she looks like she can stump a hole through your face. You know, that's what I'm here for, and I need them to stay. So I know what my job is here to do.
Did you follow the industry a lot growing up? Did you watch pro wrestling? And if you did, who were some of your big inspirations?
China, Stone Cold Steve Austin, geez, it's a lot of people, but for me, the biggest inspiration was China and just seeing how she owned herself when she walked in the ring. And I wish they would let us wrestle men because man, I would love to go out there and manhandle somebody if they let me.
I think you definitely could for sure. Who are you most excited to work with in WWE and going forward?
Yes, Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley. So I'm sad to see that she's injured right now, but she's gonna come out pounding for her belt when she comes back and taking names. I'm sure about that. And hopefully I'm the one holding the belt when she does come back because I'll be ready.
I think a lot of people would be looking forward to that for sure. A few years ago, Jade, this was before you were in WWE, maybe even before you had broken into the scene altogether. WWE had an all women's pay per view called Evolution. It was in 2019, I want to say. Uh, I thought it went over great with the fans. I loved it. I was very entertained by it.
Love to
Do
hear
you
that.
think do you think there should be another one of those coming up
Yes.
here on the horizon? I mean, I think the women's pro wrestling is stronger than ever.
Yeah, we are. We really are. And if you think of all the powerhouse names that WWE has in the locker room, we have the Becky Lynches, we have the Bianca Belairs, we have the Naomis, we have the Rhea Ripleys, we have the Nia Jax, we have, I mean, Liv Morgans. We have so many women that can headline and do amazing things at that. We have tag team champs right now. So, if they give us the ball, trust and believe we're going to take it and run with it. I mean, I think that's something that we would love to have. That's something we all talk about with one another. We all push one another. We all want to top one another. We all want to continue to grow. And we all want to create, obviously, and continue the best women's division in the world.
Jay, just one more for you before I let you go. Beyond winning championships, what are some goals you have set for yourself in pro wrestling altogether?
I want a main event at WrestleMania. That's one thing I definitely want to do. I definitely want to be in the Hall of Fame, and I want to inspire and have a prodigy before I, exit. Whenever I exit wrestling, I definitely want to have a prodigy that obviously I'm being groomed. So I want to groom the next generation, and they groom the next generation. Like that's what I want to do. I want to inspire the next generation. That's one thing I want to do. I want little girls or little boys or whatever to say, I watched Jade Cargill. She got me into wrestling. That to me is a full circle. If they say, Jade Cargill is the reason why I got into wrestling, because I see the Baileys and the people that Bailey has inspired, and I see the people that Sasha Banks has inspired. I see the people that Bianca has inspired, and I aspire to do the same.
Jade Cargill, the present and the future of women's pro wrestling. Jade, thank you so much for
Thank you for
taking the
having
time.
me. No problem.